Oh, Joe, I was so happy to see your papers and your stuff. It would have been fine, and I would have understood if you had just kind of disappeared and been like, that's enough of English 102. I'm going to concentrate on other things. But yay. Okay, so I'm going to read through your paper and respond and give feedback that should help you with your revision, I hope. Okay, primary research in the film industry. Being a film major, excuse me, the use of media has significant importance to my field. The film industry has shaped popular culture and the function of society in multiple categories. Every single day, this interchangeable field keeps on expanding and developing. Throughout history, there have been many different uses of film to shape the public, such as propaganda or even just well known animated movies. Despite having a massive influence on the world in many ways, the field of film has been viewed in a mistreated manner and is often looked down upon in many universities. Here, I gathered information on the ways it contributes to society, its importance on the market side, and reasoning behind film creators and why they're so invested in this form of art. But as well as showcases, but as well as showcasing its realities through documents, I've found and also exclusive input from an interview I've constructed. Well, you can fix that, I'm sure, and make that clear. Okay, so you're going to talk about film. You're going to talk about, and you're talking about its importance in history. It has a big influence, but it's been viewed in a mistreated manner. I don't think you need to say mistreated manner. I think you can just say film has been looked down upon. Here I gathered the many ways. Why they're so invested. That sounds great. I'm excited to read that. Documents I found, exclusive input. I love exclusive input. I'm like, why didn't everyone say that in their paper? It sounds fancy, and it's true. A professor from the KCKCC something, John Brandt, agreed to conduct an interview with me over a phone call to give some input to the questions and information I've gathered from the forums. Professor Brandt teaches the Multimedia and Voice Productions course at a KCK technical program, in which I attended 2 semesters of. I don't think you need the in there. You can just say which I attended 2 semesters of. Funny story about that having to do with Latin and prepositions, and you probably don't care, so I'll stop. One of the questions I asked was his motivation to teach students like me in the production of video and also the use of other media. He replied with, I simply just enjoy educating people of any age, the use of creative software to have their I simply just enjoy educating people of any age about the use of creative software. So if your person really did say it like this, what you can do is put the word or words that helps it to sound smooth in brackets, which are, the squarish looking ones, like parentheses, but squares. Where are they? Now I'm looking for them on my keyboard. Yeah, they're like over by the letter P there, right? The brackets are the curly ones there. That's one kind of brackets. And then these other brackets, the straight ones, are what you want. Here at Blah, our course is designed to give students entry-level skills in a wide range of technology we offer. And honestly, I would get amazed by their abilities and execution of said ideas. Aww. Brian has been familiar with the whole video production and performances with maybe you mean everything about video production performance due to his past experience of being an actor in New York. Yay! The cinema is a great tool for raising awareness of issues. I was kind of expecting you to talk about New York all of a sudden. The cinema is a great tool for raising awareness of issues. Some of you need some little transition there between, we're talking about he was an actor, to raising issues, such as politics, environmental, social classes, and issues okay. The cinema is a great tool for raising awareness of issues, I think you mean in the world, such as politics, I don't think you mean environmental. I think you possibly mean climate change. Because just environmental makes it sound like everything about the environment, right? Social classes, there I might say social injustices or social justice. Because again, like social classes doesn't tell us if you think this is a good thing or a bad thing, and I'm pretty sure you think it's not a good thing. Films use, well, at least the way it plays out isn't a good thing, Films use visual sounds and narratives, which are elements of the art that are always combined together to portray its prominent message. I then asked instructor Brandt the importance of a medium like film towards a society, in which he answered with, Each film has its own reasons for its existence or the message it wants to get toward the audience. Through this, they have the ability to challenge the audience's concept of morality, represent reality situations, and expand people's perspectives on topics the film showcases. Well, that's a real nice quote. They have the ability to change the concept of morality, represent reality situations, and expand people's perspectives. I also agree with his statement that the power film has upon the minds of people is greatly influential. So I feel like right there, I mean, the fact that you agree is like, I'm glad. But there, I'd really like to hear maybe like an example of, I mean, it shouldn't take a lot more research for you to give some examples of those things. I can imagine what my examples would be, but you're the one who knows something about film, actually. So, yeah, I think that would be really helpful there to show what that means. One form I like to bring up, new paragraph. One form I like to bring up is the 2018-2019 Ocala Film Festival scholarship application, in which I noticed that part of the criteria of the entry was the applicant's creativity due to the form's statement. Student scholarship applicants will be judged on overall quality of the work submitted with particular attention to expression, interpretation, and construction of the visual image. Okay. This is one piece of evidence in which forms such as this scholarship application will require the use of creativity with some message interpreted. So I think you mean not that some message is interpreted, but some message like included. Because you can't be responsible for other people interpreting it, but you can be responsible in like having a message that is there for hopefully people to find. Asked John Brent the significance of creativity in one's work, and he states creativity is a huge part of what runs this industry. Some see it as a limitation to their projects, excuse me, while others find it extremely easy to come up with a concept on what they want to create for the world to see. It is a form of competition since everyone is trying to best each other's creative processes and how they want to implement their ideas. The stage of creativity is present in any other form of art, for example, sculpting or painting, of course. It is quite known that creativity is a major gear in the liberal arts. It's a major gear. You might be trying to say something really interesting and cool there, but I'm not sure. A gear? Like on a bike? Like this gear? Anyway, that needs to be clear whether... regardless. Professor Brandt then brings up the most anticipated Korean-originated film, Parasite, which, oh god, for a second I thought you said which he directed. I was like, what? No. Okay. Which was directed by Joon Ho Bong. I hope I said his name right. And won many high-valued awards, such as the Academy Award for 2020 Best Picture. That award caused the film to be the first non-English language film to be awarded such an achievement. Brandt believes this example of a film is a great example of a film. Okay, you probably don't want to repeat that, right? That often happens when you're rewriting. Great example of a film that can have a major impact. I think just one impact. A major impact, probably is what you mean, on societies. I'd probably stop my sentence there. Maybe start a new one, because then this other part is having a perspective-changing experience due to its plot revolving around the distinction between social classes. He also adds that Parasite does a great job, at exploring and subtly showing harsh realities while maintaining a creative narrative for the audience to follow with. I truly believe it deserves its place as 2020 Best Picture. Cool, I agree. Movies are devices of communication. Wait a minute. That feels like a totally different thought. New paragraph. Movies are devices of communication that reflect upon the history and present events of the world. These stories and messages are derived from real-life experiences and situations caused by the world. Through this, we learn to positively right our mistakes by learning about the teachings of the past presented in these films. Okay, these stories or messages are derived from real-life experiences and situations caused by the world. Well, we were talking about imagination, and so now I guess you're talking about, like, imagination was one whole section, creativity, imagination, and then this other part, it seems, is using things from the real world. But I think if you looked back at those last few sentences I read and the places where you're kind of trying to link these ideas together, you could do a better job of that. and make sure you have one paragraph that's just about creativity and one paragraph that's just about showing social realities. So overall, then, my intuition, which may be wrong, is that you would be really helped by creating an outline before you start writing. And maybe you did. I don't know. You know, the disadvantages, we're not here to chat back and forth about this. But sometimes when I see that people are sort of, what I feel like you're doing is kind of like dancing around sometimes, like your ideas aren't like totally boxed up and like packaged for us to find, maybe is the way I want to say it, that sometimes either outlining before you write, or what I more often do is outline after I write. That is, I go through and like next to each paragraph, I'll write like, okay, this one's all about X, and this is all about Y, and this one's all about Z. And frequently when I do that, I look back and end up seeing like, okay, this sentence has nothing to do with that. It needs to go or go somewhere else. Anyway, a lot of people find that helpful. Another piece of form, you could say another form relating to my field, is the ultra low budget application form created by the Union of BC Performers. Oh, interesting. This is a simple and straightforward preparation proposal for a student's low budget film project. Oh, what a great thing to look at. You've really chosen some great sources here, gotten some great stuff. It consists of many details about the film itself, such as intended use, involvement with minors, and stunt coordinator. Ooh. The intended use has an obvious intention because the organization this application goes to must understand the reasoning and sole purpose of the whole project. The form asks if any minors are included in the film and list down their names and ages. Okay, I would like to stop there and say, like, you saying that it has to have a purpose, I would love you to tie that back to what you said about Parasite, right? Maybe you're going to do that in a minute. But I'd like you to do it right there. That film has a purpose. The form asks if any minors are included. This can be a safety precaution, blah, 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 safety of the cast members. Nude scenes are present. I want to inform them of the names of any performers. Nudity in film is taken very seriously through the rating system, which of course indicates the recommended audience. From all the forms I've gathered, they all require legal information, are very affiliated, correlated to the law. Decisions made to films such as this can greatly affect the budget, revenue, and showings. They can? How? I mean, it's testimony to the fact that you have great sources and great ideas that I keep having like more questions. I'm like, I wish you'd talk about this and that, right? That's because you've done a good job already. But so yeah, I think it would be really great to have a whole paragraph just about safety. And again, like with the examples of film, I feel like with a very teeny bit of research, you could throw in an example from some article about like, here's a safety problem that happened. Michael Jackson's hair caught on fire on the set of his Pepsi commercial. You know, how important safety really is in these settings. The slide to fill the funding sources in the ultra low budget application form indicates reinsurance if the funding for the project is backed up in some way. Oh, I don't even know what that means. In other forms, I noticed that finances are another huge part of the film industry for obvious reasons. Okay, so, I mean, if you're going to talk about reinsurance, cool, but if you're not going to talk about it, you can just take it out. Money is what makes business and what creates the films we see today. Without the sort of investment and funding, people's creative concepts and ideas would not be adapted to the medium. The third form that I have, whoa, new paragraph. Okay, so I'm guessing you're not going to need to talk about, you don't want to talk about reinsurance at all, so you can cut it. Money is what we need. I'm also wondering if you want to cut that too, because you don't really talk about it. I mean, you definitely could, and you could also talk about how some countries the government helps fund film. But I don't know that you have time to go into that. Okay, the third form I have is the blah, 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 creative blah, blah, blah. Throughout the form, I can identify many fill-ins. This is a great choice. Fill-ins and detail requirements that are correlated to the financial aspects of the project. That's for details, just estimated gross annual production costs, maximum cost of any one production, and the total values of rented owned items. Am I going to, yes, sorry, I'm going to have to make you another video because they can't be longer than 15 minutes, so I'm going to stop it here and start again.